like this special box so the kids don't like break it and grab it, and there'd be like Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time,
Okay.
and Yoshi's Story and stuff.
To clarify for the audience, because I
Yeah.
immediately started recording when you started talking about this. So there was, what the fuck kind of place did you live where they had Nintendo and McDonald's?
Yeah, it was a thing.
Yeah, it's one of the few places that they would have them at the big McDonald's, the ones with the full-on playground inside of them.
Yeah, over in the playground, right next to the playground, there'd be like 3 or 4 different little setups with Nintendo 64s in these specialty boxes, so you can't, steal the Nintendo 64s. And then they'd have games like, oh, this one is Ocarina of Time, and this one is Yoshi's Story, and this one is like a racing game or something.
Now, see, I could understand them having a racing game, or even something like Yoshi's Story that's bright and colorful, but give them a full-length RPG like Zelda.
That was the
Really?
first time I played Ocarina of Time, by the way, was at a McDonald's.
Ugh.
Memorable. I went and rented the game later, but that was my first exposure because when I rented the game, um, I didn't have the game for long enough to get past the Great Deku Tree,
Yeah.
and so yeah, so yeah.
You have, if you have a game in a setting like that, it doesn't really seem like the kind of thing where you would be able to get that far in it.
Well, when I rented the game for myself, I couldn't get past the Deku Tree, but when I went to the McDonald's one, they had it already at Hyrule Field, and I was like, "Wow,
Yeah, I mean,
how
it's like
do
a
I get
demo.
here?" I think there were save files on it already.
You put it that way, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I have to assume that like McDonald's had a licensing arrangement with Nintendo to do that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
it was a big
good
push
advertising.
to spread video games.
Yeah. Okay, point completed.
Oh, that's weird though. I don't think we ever had anything like that over here.
That's interesting.
You've never
I
had
know for a
brands
fact.
like that?
Yeah.
The closest I can think of was when I was a kid. I had really bad asthma, so I was in the hospital a lot. And they had a Mega Drive there with games that I didn't have at home that I played there a lot. But I don't think that was anywhere near the same kind of thing. Of just like an advertising thing. I think it was just like, hey, give the kids something to do while they're in the children's hospital. So that made sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Fandom
So
Flux
is
podcast. Hi everybody. How's it going?
Well,
Oh, right.
wow.
We actually have everyone on an episode, so let's do a proper intro again just to make sure everyone knows who everyone is. I did try and do one for Patient before, but he wasn't actually on the episode, so description of him having voice smooth and sweet as chocolate probably didn't convey it well enough. So, yeah. Hi, I'm Casey. How's it going? What's up? And,
Hello, I'm Slicinus.
yeah. Slices is over there.
and I'm Zero. Hello.
I am the patient one, and I hate to rain on Casey's parade, but I probably won't be staying too long today.
Oh.
Just based on what happened last time. Last week with how late things went on, I didn't have time to go home before my family had gone their separate ways and gone to bed for the day. So basically, if I can take the first turn here, I'll just get what I have to say out of the way and
Alrighty. Sure.
right.
Okay.
And
Go ahead.
sorry about it. Although there's really not much to say for me this week, there rarely is. Been spending a lot of time playing Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Yes.
And enjoying it quite a bit.
I've put a lot of time into that game.
So I am still trying to avoid spoilers. I've gotten past the main storyline. I'm in the post game now, but I'm still trying to keep any little surprises that are left in the game uh, as a surprise.
Hmm. I've completed the Pokedex,
Well,
and completely done every request, caught every Pokemon, and now I am literally just mindlessly shiny hunting because shiny hunting is the easiest it's ever been.
hmm,
What
you
does
get
that entail?
Okay, so let me break it down for you.
Break it
So
down.
the shiny rate at base is 1 in 4096. You have a chance of getting a Pokemon that is shiny, right?
8,192
It was
previous.
halved.
Hmm.
Yeah. So 1 in 4096 in recent gens. Now here's the thing. So the way the Pokedex works in this is that you have various tasks that you have to complete, and these will give you ranks for that Pokemon. And a rank 10 Pokedex entry is complete. And it's like, oh, you've caught them this many times. You see them do this move this many times. You fed
You're
them
hitting them
food,
with,
or you've defeated them in battle.
yeah.
Complete Pokedex shows the flavor text and everything. That gives you one additional shiny roll, so it becomes 2 in 4096. Right, double the odds.
Oh, so that's how it works.
If you complete the Pokedex entry and make it perfect and do all of the tasks, you get 2 more shiny rolls, making it 4 in 4096.
Oh,
Wait,
I
what?
assume by that you mean that it halves and then quarters the odds.
Yes.
I'm sorry. What did you mean? Completing it doubles the odds for that particular Pokemon?
For that particular Pokemon, you get 2 more rolls, I guess, so to speak, on chances of getting it, right? So it
Okay,
makes it into 1 in 1,000, right?
Yeah.
okay.
If you do what is called an outbreak, in which 8 to 16 of that Pokemon will spawn, you get 25 additional rolls
25.
per Pokemon. So with a perfect dex entry, that becomes 29 out of 4096, or about 150, 1 in 150 chances of getting
Oh,
a shiny.
way
Yeah,
better.
that's definitely as easy as it's ever been. Other
If you-
than
Chance
that,
to get a shiny for each one of those spawned?
Yes.
Oh.
So it's 1 in 150 that happens about 8 to 16 times.
the only time I've ever heard of odds better than that, other than the guaranteed ones, obviously, is that one egg you get from the daycare couple in Crystal version, where the odds of it being shiny are 1 in 8.
This game, by the way, will give you a guaranteed shiny Ponyta through a side quest.
Yep.
Not to mention that on top of all of this, there's a shiny charm, which you're likely not going to get because it requires you to hit rank 10 with every single Pokemon in the game, which there's 242 of them.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah. But the tasks are pretty big. Like they can be a little lengthy to do, but that gives you the shiny charm, which gives you 3 more rolls.
Oh my god.
Good to know.
The lowest you can get it, I think, is 1 in 128 chance of getting a shiny.
Which is quite good, really.
Yes, and the outbreaks. There's a way that you can save, go back into town, and then go back out to the area, and it will. If the outbreak is still there, then that's a whole new set. So you can basically save scum and get a shiny in 30 minutes. It's super easy.
Okay, before we get any further into this, because I know that this
Yes. Okay,
conversation
I'm sorry. I wanted to explain
for
that.
another half hour or so, even once I leave. Only other thing of note that's happened this week is that on Thursday and Friday I got the day off with pay because it was snowing over here.
Nice.
Texas.
It's been really cold. I think this year is better than last year, though.
Much. We had it for a whole week last year, and that was well, I mean, I got the whole week off with pay, so I'm not complaining. didn't lose power or heat or anything, so I really have no complaints about the week of ice that we had to deal with last year, especially considering that it extended my 2-week vacation into a 3-week vacation.
Nice.
3-week paid vacation, mind you. But yeah, that's really about all. I've just been working on that sort of stuff and not much else going on. Although I do have a recommendation that I didn't get the chance to say last week.
All right, shoot.
The title's a bit lengthy here. It's a Persona crossover fic. The body reflects the heart, the shadow reflects the soul.
Ooh.
This is the premise, essentially, is that 1 year after the events of Persona 5 Strikers, the metaverse begins encroaching upon reality once more, this time without a false god pulling the strings. There have just been so many infiltrations in such close proximity over the past few years that the barrier between reality and the metaverse has lost its strength. So shadows just... the barrier just blurs enough, like cracked ice on a frozen pond, and shadows begin entering the real world. So 3 generations of Persona users come together against the threat, but they can only mitigate it considering how widespread it is. But one bright side is that the world's fusion has made it possible for anyone to awaken to a Persona. And one of the first is a new wildcard from Shujin Academy, a quiet loner named Kenzo Okuda, who slowly begins opening to the ones around him to unlock the wildcard's potential. The author of the fic, Raptor Claw, Kenzo Okuda is basically a self-insert, native to the world of Persona, no meta-knowledge or anything, but very much based off the author. And he is... I've joined his Discord server, and he's very, very welcoming of pretty much anyone. He allows anyone to submit OCs, and he is determined to include all of them at some point in the story, if only as cameos for several of them. But he takes a lot of ideas from his fans, and I'm just enjoying the story as it is thus far. So
That's pretty cool.
only thing that I'm not sure I like him doing, I'm really not sure how to feel about this, is that, spoiler warning for anyone who's played Persona 5, or hasn't rather, this takes place in the continuity of Royal and Strikers, but Akechi is not alive, as far as we can tell.
Eh.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure how to feel about it. So yeah, that's my recommendation.
Haven't played Strikers yet. I'm presuming they don't actually get into the whole Akechi might be alive thing.
It's left open to interpretation, so it's fine either way.
Yeah.
I mean, I went with him being dead too, so...
It's if you really want this character to be alive, you could be like, yeah, no, maybe he is. But, like...
Or you can leave his character arc complete.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way works. So, yeah, that's my main recommendation for this week, and that's about all that I've got. A fic that I recommended a while back, Platinum Pirate, has updated again, and I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying helping to write that, so I'm kind of biased. But that's about it. So I'll leave you guys to talk about Pokemon Legends Arceus for another half hour or so.
Oh, I'm ready.
He's joking, but he's also really not joking, so...
All right, I will try to be here once you've already done the random A selected this week.
Mhm. Okay.
Escaping.
Cackling
All
like a
right.
supervillain, alright.
You should know me by now. On the note of which, rabbits.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I've put 65 hours into Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Of course. How long has that game been out?
Not long.
About a week.
That sounds very much like he spent every waking hour playing Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Maybe.
Alright.
This is a very different Pokemon game. I just want to stress that this is the depth of the changes and the quality of life changes. I can go into a lot of things like um, how fast everything is. All right, so if you've seen the trailers, you know that you're running around an open world, sort of like there's different zones that are big open areas, and you run around. You can throw your Pokeballs and just catch things out in the overworld. If you hit a Pokemon in the back of the head with your Pokeball, right? If you hit them from behind, that's a back strike, and there's a higher chance that they'll be caught. Not they'll aggro on you and try to murder you.
Yeah.
And you got to throw out your Pokemon to initiate the battle, and you can choose which Pokemon you send out. By the way, it's super easy. This game has a few features that are really nice. Hey, you know IVs and EVs for Pokemon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That entire system's basically changed.
Is it gone?
Pokemon do not have IVs, and they're sort of their IVs, EVs are tied to this thing just called an effort level, which you can just max out with just items that you get from catching and releasing Pokemon.
That's good.
The items thing is the same, but otherwise that is... Yeah.
Nope, it's an entirely different thing because you can raise each stat up to 10. There's no limit on that. You can raise them all up to 10 easily using this thing called Grit Dust, which has higher tiers of like Grit Pebble, Grit Rock. And yeah, it's super easy to do to just raise all of their abilities up to 10 so they have the best possible stats
Cool.
that they can have. And that works for every Pokemon.
They don't have natures anymore?
There's no abilities in the game. They do have natures, and you can just get mints pretty easily later on into the game to change the nature to whatever you want. There's no abilities in this game at all. And the way combat works is you have set turns, and your speed can influence how many turns you get. You also have ways that you can use Agile and Strong Style for your moves, which will affect an Agile style move will have, say, for example, less power, but it will also move it up so that you have a higher chance of getting 2 turns. Whereas a Strong Style will delay your turn count and possibly give your enemy 2 turns, but it raises both the power and the accuracy of the move you're going to use. So you can guarantee like a Blizzard, for example.
I appreciate the accuracy bonus. Nothing's worse than buffing your strength and damage and then missing. It sucks.
Mm-hmm. It also works for status moves.
As in, like, the status will be stronger, or it has a better chance of catching?
As in the that hypnosis, it has like a 70% chance. It's now a 100% chance. Go nuts, or like a 95% chance.
Damn.
I mean, there are 100% accuracy sleep moves, but yes.
Yeah. they've changed how status buffs work. So, like, anything that would buff just attack or special defense now buffs both. Anything that would buff just defense or special defense now buffs both. Just buffs offensive or buffs defensive attributes. And you can, from the menu, evolve Pokemon. You don't get the prompt of like, oh, they're going to level up. Do you want to involve them? Oh, you're going to level up. You want to evolve them? No. You can just, there's a little sidebar that says, oh, can't evolve. And it goes away. And then you can just go into your menu, go over to the Pokemon, hit X to evolve them. And you can also change your Pokemon's name in the menu. You can change their move set in the menu. Just looking at your Pokemon.
So basically what you're saying
So
is
nice.
they have done a hell of a lot of quality of life improvements in this game that you kind of hope that they're going to bring into the main game series.
Yes.
Like,
I really do.
a lot of these aren't even, like, just mechanically different. Like, the status changes thing is a pretty significant change in terms of competitive more than anything else. But just a lot of the other stuff is just basic quality of life features for just how the game plays in minute to minute of just playing the game. And that sounds like stuff
Status
that I
effects are
want.
different as well. Status effects are different as well. Sleepy is now asleep is now drowsy, so drowsy works like paralysis. Frozen is no longer a thing. It's now called frostbitten, and it now works kind of like a poison.
I don't like either of those changes. It makes them redundant.
I think it's the intent is now types that don't have access to a poison can do something similar or something. But I think the main goal is to not do something where it just takes away your turn for several turns, trying to keep it more active or something. Because I'm not sure how well that works in the system with how the turns work in this game.
Yeah,
So I'm not.
I would
I'm not
hope
sure how
that
well it
one
works.
stays as this game. This sounds like it's just like they're experimenting with a lot of how they could change the systems, and some people will like, and some people won't.
Yeah,
And they're just feeling out how people will react to these changes.
the main draw of this game though is catching Pokemon, because it is so easy and it is so fast. You can just run by a Pokemon, throw a Pokeball at them, keep running. Oh, they're caught. Are you in a Pokemon battle? You can just run away from the battle physically with your character and just end the battle. Which, yeah, you can move around during battles because it's happening in the real world. There's different types of Pokeballs. There's Feather Balls, which can go much farther and can hit like flying Pokemon. And then there's the Heavy Balls, which have a shorter range, but have a much better catch rate. This is the most fun I've had with a Pokemon game. It's just very, very fun to play. I cannot stress that enough.
Cool.
Um,
It sounds like the way you describe the Pokedex entry stuff. It sounds like a wonderful fusion between regular Pokemon and Pokemon Snap.
yes, exactly.
Specifically, new Pokemon Snap.
You want to go and you want to catch all the Pokemon, and as you explore the different regions, you'll find certain areas where specific Pokemon will spawn easier. There's big boss fights in the game through the story where you have to use these bombs that you have to throw, BALM bombs, to try to calm like an enraged Pokemon.
I thought that sounded
yeah.
really cool for a second.
Yeah, You're throwing these items at a Pokemon to try to get down this huge life bar as it's doing these gigantic AoE attacks, and you're dodge rolling out of the way until eventually you manage to break its concentration for a moment, and then you can throw in a Pokemon, and then you start a Pokemon battle. Then you win the battle, and the boss is then stunned, so you can throw those bombs easier and have him do more of the gauge damage. And the boss battles are very dynamic, and they're very fun.
Do you get the feeling that maybe when at some point during development it was bombs instead of bombs?
Probably.
And then they were like, hey, remember that shit fit Peter keeps throwing every 5 seconds about how it's animal abuse? Maybe we do a little editing.
There's all sorts of other items you can use. You have various mounts that you can use. Like you can use a Weirdeer, which is the new evolution of Stantler, to run around and dash really fast and like jump through the area. You can treat it like a Skyrim horse to get up inclines, like I was doing. Basky Legion, which you use for like going through water very fast, also has a dash.
Oh,
And
that's
then
the
there's the
fucking
flying
ghost
one.
fish, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I want a ghost
Yeah.
fish.
It has a double jump, by the way. And while you're in the air, you can pull out a Pokeball and Breath of the Wild slow down Snipe as you're like jumping over fish Pokemon.
Oh my god. Remember when we thought this game looked kind of shaky? Sounds like the best thing ever.
There's Hisuian Braviary, who you can use to fly, which is more like gliding. So you're falling with style, but you're also going incredibly fast. And whenever you summon Hisuian Braviary, it also flies up for like a huge amount and then just starts to go down over distance. But it ends up being there's two other mounts I don't want to mention because they weren't shown in pre-release footage. But all of them flow very well together, so that you can travel this world with relative ease. Like it's just really nice. And again, because all the Pokemon are generated when you first enter into the zone, there's a huge chance for shinies because you're seeing so many Pokemon, and they are shiny in the overworld. Unlike Sword and Shield, in which they're not shiny unless you engage in battle with the Pokemon.
Yep.
So I have 25 shinies.
Cool. I assume this game does not have support for home yet. If ever.
Not yet. They did say they are planning on implementing support for this and Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl.
Okay. In terms of that, I assume for BDSP, that's going to be both ways. For this, it's going to only be one way. You can put it in home. If it didn't come from this game, you can't bring it in.
Data miners did find that the Pokemon in Arceus do have abilities that just turned off for the game, so that's how they're getting around. You can transfer them out because they'll already have abilities pre-coded.
Yeah. I just assume it won't go the other way because that's a whole hell of a lot more work. Because
yeah, and I imagine the Hisuian variants, which there's only like 10 or 11 Hisuian variants / new Pokemon, which is fine because
I if I had the choice, I probably would have wanted the regular Braviary instead of the Hisuian one. That's just me.
That's a cool shiny. Where it's like got like the black feathers and like the glowing blue psychic energy on the front of its head.
Yeah, but regular Braviary is All Might in bird form. So, you know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this game's too Japanese.
Yeah.
It can't handle it.
Yeah.
There's like 5 main areas in the game. There are trainers that you fight. There are not many of them. Because a lot of the times when you're fighting, it's against those bosses or against alpha Pokemon. And alpha Pokemon are super tall variants of regular Pokemon that can have their effort levels already raised up a significant amount, so they're tougher. They also have access to a larger move pool than the standard Pokemon, which you can actually expand the move pool of all of your Pokemon by going to a single tutor who you just pay to just add all of these like 20 different moves to your Pokemon's move pool that you can change at any time from the menu. Like, okay, now I want to put this on this Pokemon. Super easy. It's so nice. So like you see lots of pictures on like Twitter and everything of like, look, this is this Alpha Luxray, and it's like twice the size of the player. And you know, all of the Pokemon have different heights, so they're all varied in size, which is really nice. It just makes it feel more alive. The Pokemon have really fun AI. My favorite, I think, is Sudowoodo, because Sudowoodo, if it notices that it will run ahead and then pose as if it's a tree and pretend to be a tree.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's there's so much care put into this game, in terms of all of the smaller details, and the story takes a bit to get going, and I don't think it's like an amazing story or anything, but I don't care. The gameplay's just that fun.
Cool.
And yeah, I already talked about how the ridiculous shiny odds. There's also situations in which you'll end up with like one Pokemon versus 4 different ones, and you can get your teeth kicked in. And when your Pokemon team gets wiped out, you don't black out. You still have to run from the Pokemon that killed your team.
I wasn't sure if I was being heard. I know it.
Yeah.
You
I didn't hear you at all.
Oh, fun. Great. I didn't say much, but still. But I have heard that the speed stacking and the fact that enemies can gangbang you sometimes mixes poorly.
Yeah, you sometimes it's a good idea to just run from a situation and try to re-engage later. I had a situation in which an Alpha Infernape wiped out the entirety of my team because I kept trying to catch it. So I ran away until it de-aggroed, ran back in, and was able to catch it with no Pokemon alive.
The fact that you, as a trainer, do actually have your own strengths is nice. That's a nice change.
You can use bait and smoke bombs, and like you can throw items at Pokemon to stun them. Just hit them in the head, stun them, and then you can catch them.
Seems almost Monster Hunter-esque in that way.
It is. It is very Monster Hunter. And you have your own sort of health, so you're only gonna die if something straight up murders you. And if you do, you will drop a bunch of items, and then somebody online can find your satchel, return it to you. They get points that they can use to buy in-game items, and then you get your items back.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought you were going to say something like they have the choice of keeping it and being an asshole or giving it back to you.
No.
This is a kid's
If you
game,
lose your items, while you're running around, you'll see various satchels. So you can pick them up, get merit points, and be like, "Oh yeah, I can buy an evolution stone with these points," or like a rare candy, and then they get their items back.
That's
So
nice.
it's a nice little implementation of an online feature. There's no online battles in this game. The only online is the satchels, and you can trade. This is very much the entire game is balanced around PvE.
As it probably should be, really. I know a lot of Pokemon games have been shifting towards PvP of the post game, but yeah.
Yeah, I had fun completing the Pokedex. Because the game starts with Arceus himself saying, "Seek out all Pokemon," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm on a crusade now. Thank you, God."
I'm on a mission from God.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it. Beat me to it.
And yeah, then you meet Arceus at the very, very end once you've met all other Pokemon.
Arceus Vult.
Arceus Vult.
So can you catch God, or does he just like say, "Hey, what's up? You did a good job"?
You prove yourself to God. You dodge roll his judgment that he fires at you, and then that. Yeah,
What?
you dodge roll God's judgment.
So basically, you're
Oh,
Batman
okay.
fighting Darkseid, is what you're telling me.
And then afterwards, he's like, "You know what? You're pretty cool. Here, you can take a piece of me with you. It's not actually me, but there you go." And then you get Arceus in your party.
Oh, okay. So you get like an Echo clone or something, or whatever.
Yeah, like a little avatar. But
I mean, that's still pretty cool.
it's pretty cool. And they actually introduced a really busted item called the Legend Plate for Arceus. Which, when used, it causes it so that whenever Arceus is put in battle against a Pokemon, it will automatically change its type to the type that best suits fighting against that Pokemon.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, but it's kind of how Arceus should work, considering the whole plate mechanic with like changing its type and everything. Yeah. There's some really epic boss fights. They're really, really fun. You can refight them at a much higher difficulty. I haven't refought Arceus yet, but apparently he is level 100. So fun.
I'm surprised they didn't make him level 99 or higher than level 100. I mean,
This is the first time that I can remember where they did have a level 100 boss that you could just fight. Yeah. The game's fantastic. I'm just enjoying my time with it. The one thing I will say, it needed a little bit more time in the oven graphically. Because Pokemon Company likes to rush things out.
yeah.
So there are parts where the game looks like doo-doo. And there's a lot of pop-in. But the game does play very well. At least in my immediate vicinity, there are no frame drops. So,
Well, that's good after the lackluster, more than lackluster thing that we had before.
yeah, the pre-release footage was just all the trailers and stuff they were putting out had just terrible frame rate. But the game plays well. If it is at times ugly. I've seen a lot of people come together on this game and be like, you know what? This is good. They changed up the formula. And the full scope of the changes and quality of life improvements, there's a lot of stuff I'm saying that like I'm probably not mentioning because I'm so used to it now.
That does happen. Unless you like make yourself notes, like you can pretty easily forget about the little stuff.
There's crafting. Oh yeah, there's crafting in this game. You can craft your own Pokeballs.
Cool.
Oh, cool. Are they in any way better than the stuff you can buy, or?
Money is hard to get,
Oh,
and buying Pokeballs outright is like twice as much as if you were to just buy the materials and craft them yourself. Which for some, you can't buy some of the materials until they're in the game, so it's best to just scavenge and stuff. And yeah, it's like an entirely new game. They really did a lot of work in changing up the formula and refreshing it. Because there's no gyms in this game.
Which is a thing they've done before, but it wasn't done very well.
And the way you raise the level cap of Pokemon that can obey you is by doing research and completing the Pokedex, and then you get different ranks as part of the Survey Corps. And each rank you get, it's like you get a new Pokeball type that you can use. You get the raised level limit, and so on and so forth.
Doing research to make Pokemon obey you, it makes a hell of a lot more sense than the Pokemon intrinsically know that this badge means you're a tough guy. Like,
it's more about Pokemon. Also, the tone of this game is great. You go in and everybody is terrified of Pokemon. They look at you and you're like, how are you going up and catching these monsters?
with the balls.
Dude, I was laid up in the bed for like 3 days after a thunder shock.
Yeah. Finally leaning into that whole thing a little bit, aren't they?
Yeah, they straight up mentioned, yeah, Pokemon can kill you.
I only needed to see that hangry ass Ursa ring to know that. Like, holy shit. That thing was bearing down.
There's a lot of lines like, if you pass this, you can stay in our town, but if you fail, you're gonna go out. You're gonna be left to the wilderness, in which you'll probably die. It's like, okay, got it. Nothing is more terrifying than you take off and you start you just running through the world, and then you hear a hyper beam go off behind you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. That's essentially a WMD. I mean,
it's just a gigantic laser that just annihilates everything. And you can get affected by status ailments too. So you have to watch out for Pokemon. They'll try to do that to you. Because if you are not careful, they will murder you. Or at the very least, they will beat you up so badly that the medics have to come in and rescue you and pull your body off the battlefield. Yeah. I appreciate the more realistic take, I guess. But there's also like a theme of as you learn more about Pokemon, you're slowly starting to bridge the gap between the people of the village and the Pokemon in their surroundings. And so over time, the town becomes more and more filled with Pokemon.
I do really enjoy the change of, you have to gain experience to do this. It's not just these little bits of metal make them listen to you.
Yeah. And I think that's Pokemon Legends Arceus. If you have any questions, let me know. But I've invested a lot of time into this. I think this is incredibly worthwhile Pokemon game and the best mainline one they've done in a while.
I want to play it. I want to play it. I want to play Pokemon Snap. They're on my list. The fucking list that haunts my memories and dreams and fucking.
I like that some Pokemon are just friendly. Like, they won't try to attack you on sight. Like, a Bidoof will just walk up to you and be like, "Hi," and it's just like it's just there and just wants to be pet.
Yeah, little Bidoof. Everyone loves
You can
Bidoof. Everyone
also
saw
throw
that
your-
cartoon of the Bidoof that could.
Yeah.
That was great.
So some Pokemon are just super friendly, and you can also just throw your Pokeballs that have your Pokemon in them and just send them out into the overworld, and you can just walk around and like talk to them. I say talk, but they're not going to talk back. They just do their like animations and expressions and everything. But it's cute.
God. You know what's the weirdest thing about this? This is making me want to do a quest. You know, a written quest like on Space Battles and that shit. Of just this. Of like civilization building via making friends with Pokemon kind of thing. That would be cool. I have seen something vaguely similar to that before, and they tend not to live long, which is a shame. Even more of a shame because if I did start one, it would inevitably fall under its own weight within like 3 chapters, I assume. So, you know, it's probably not actually going to happen. But it's a cool thought. I don't want to do it.
Well, I'm just happy it inspired creativity, even if it isn't real life.
I want more games like this. I think this is much better than the recent Pokemon games. Like Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl is good because it's it's a remake and it's not made by Game Freak, but this is the best thing Game Freak has come up with in a long time.
I would not mind seeing them iterate on something like this, rather than like. I remember I was not exactly hot on Sun and Moon the last time they tried to do something like this, where it's more like, hey, explore the world and you catch Pokemon, but there's not really a big deal about like trainer battles or anything. Well, there were trainer battles, but it was more about like big boss fight Pokemon than anything else. I wasn't big on that. It didn't really grab me. A couple of generations later, I'm kind of like, yeah, okay. Like, the whole gym leader thing and the Elite Four and all that, it's fine, but they're not really... It seems really unfair of me. In absolute fairness, it seems really unfair of me to be like, I hated that then, but now I'm kind of craving it.
I don't think that's unfair. You've given it time for them to refine the process.
I guess like that might be part of it. Like this looked like a more realized version of that. Like Sun and Moon tried to. It seemed like it was trying to have its cake and eat it too, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're backing off on that whole Elite Four and gym leaders thing, but not really, we still found a lot of trainers and everything, and it's still,
You found, in Sun and Moon, you found the first Pokemon, like, league, the first sort of, you are the first champion in Sun and Moon.
Yeah, and that's...
Essentially.
Yeah, like... It was a neat twist on the original formula, but it still was kind of the original formula. Whereas this... Honestly, this feels like more what Pokemon should be, in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like, it's a world filled with crazy, incredible monsters that can do incredible things. And going out and seeing them and catching them and finding out about them... was most of the magic of those games. Like, the gym leader and Elite Four system and all that, it gave you a direction, I guess. And, for games on the Game Boy and everything where you couldn't really rely on visual fidelity and animation and all that stuff to make the Pokemon come alive, it needed that kind of direction. It needed that kind of thrust for you to go into the game world and do things. But now with a game like Legends, I'm just going to call it Legends for now.
Or just PLA, Pokemon
Yeah.
Legends Arceus. I think we're calling it that.
It does have that kind of way of exploring and experiencing the world that Pokemon Snap capitalized on, like in the early days. Like that had that kind of feel to it, and people really fucking liked it, even though it was a fucking rail shooter with a camera. It still captured something. Pardon the pun, because camera, but it captured something about the premise that people were really into, but they couldn't quite fully realize yet. And I feel like this is maybe,
game has side quests.
Yeah, this game seems to be where it's actually getting to the point where they can unlock the full potential of the setting and the concept. Like, you can say it's a rip-off of Monster Hunter all you want, but this feels more like what Pokemon was always supposed to be.
This game has 94 different side quests in which you get to meet each of the different people in the town and have their own request. And each of them is actually realized as a character. Somewhat. Some of them you don't get anything for, but yeah, most of the town, you'll know what their deal is. They've done so much to refresh Pokemon and add new things. There's no gyms, there's no epic league battle of Elite Four or anything. Rather, the story revolves around there's a space-time rift in the sky, lightning is shooting out of it, causing certain Pokemon to go absolutely frenzied. Go quell those frenzies, while also dealing with the fact that there's two competing clans who were previously kind of warring, called the Pearl Clan and the Diamond Clan, and they're butting heads the entire time.
God, I want to play this
And
game.
it's about people and their relationship with Pokemon, and kind of a rejection versus acceptance, fear versus knowledge. It's very interesting. They took it in such a different direction.
From what I hear, it's kind of working out for them because people are pretty fucking into this game.
Yeah. The tutorial is a little bit long, is all I'll say. But that's because it's introducing people to an entirely different style of gameplay.
Well, they have a long tutorial in all the mainline games anyway, so...
Yeah. I forgot a piece of the tutorial early on, and I'm so mad that I wasn't paying enough attention. So you know how I mentioned this crafting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You're gifted a crafting bag so that you can craft from your inventory anywhere on the map instead of just going back to the camp and doing it at a desk.
Did you forget you had that?
I forgot I had that.
Oh.
I don't know. That sounds
Your
like
key items matter.
That sounds like both an oops on your part, but also kind of a cool survival rule.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, I'm only going to craft at a place where it's reasonable to fucking craft things.
Your bag, by the way, that you carry items in is limited, and you have to pay this guy to upgrade it, and it slowly gets more and more prohibitively expensive.
You know what?
But
this game sounds ripe for that kind of hardcore difficulty of where it strips away features.
Yeah, I can see that.
yeah, A Nuzlocke in this game would be insane.
Is it possible, you think, to nuzz like this?
It would be very difficult. Even if you're like 30 levels higher than a Pokemon, that Pokemon can still deal a lot of damage.
Also,
mean,
you, the
Nuzlocke's
protagonist, can get knocked out in this game, and I guess at that point, if that happens, you just straight up die.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're playing on Iron Man mode, essentially.
Yeah.
It gets real scary when a bunch of Pokemon just suddenly start launching their big attacks at you, and you're like, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this. And now I'm hit with a poison effect that's doing damage to me over time. I'm going to die. Pokemon are terrifying.
Yeah.
Paris, by the way, is super aggro in this game, and so people keep being like, this guy's so annoying. What's wrong with Paris? And it's like, Paris is infected by spores that are causing it to try to
fucking cordyceps, man. You played Last of Us?
It's super aggro. It will hunt you down and follow you from like 2 miles away.
It's a fucking clicker, dude.
Yeah. I'm just excited about Pokemon again.
God, this is such the framework for a quest, I swear to God.
But
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm already thinking of fucking scenarios for like random events that could come up. Like, say if the players were to set up a base on top of a mountain that's got a river that runs through it, and then random event, you see Magikarp climbing up the river.
Dude. So like, you know how Gyarados is water flying?
Yeah.
You can just see a flying Gyarados at one point.
Of course you can.
And that terrifies me. Imagine you're living in a world where Gyarados can fly and hyper beam from the sky.
Yeah. The fucking dragons,
just
dude.
living in a world where Gyarados exists is enough.
I saw this like clip of somebody getting just comboed by a bunch of Gyarados doing Hydro Pump. One small detail I will also say: whenever you're fighting a Pokemon, like an alpha Pokemon, and they knock out your Pokemon, they immediately snap their head and turn to look at you. And it's just like, you better send out another Pokemon, or else they're gonna murder you.
Do you think one of the few complaints I've heard about the game is the fact that you cannot send out multiple Pokemon? Do you think that it would have broken the game if you could do that, or is it justified?
It would have definitely broken the game. Because when you do fight, in the story, when you fight multiple Pokemon, usually you'll have one that's like on level with what you should be at level at, and then the other two are weaker.
Oh, okay.
So it's more balanced like that. When you're in wild situations, where you are outmatched, you can always run away. Physically, just like leave the area. Be like, you strayed too far from battle, and your Pokemon goes back to you, and then you just book it.
Yeah, this is not a game where you're supposed to steamroll across the savannah and fucking demolish everything in your path. You're supposed to be studying them.
Yeah. So you can, it's like, see this Pokemon do this move. By the way, I mentioned the styles for like strong style and agile style.
Mm-hmm.
The enemy Pokemon can do that too.
Yeah, makes sense.
So this Pokemon will do like an agile style recover and then hit you with a strong style attack. Then KO your Pokemon will still be at full health. It works really well.
So, would you like to know how long we've been talking about Pokemon Legends Arceus?
Has it
A long
been half
time?
an hour?
It's been a lot longer than half an hour.
An hour?
We're closing on an hour of recording, so it's probably been about 45, maybe 50 minutes.
Okay. Well, that basically was my week.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I-
Well, 60 something hours?
I taught full time this week as well.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I taught third grade.
Presumably with your Switch in handheld mode.
No. But I did play once I got home.
Oh, naturally.
Taught like third grade all week, and then I taught like on like Wednesday I taught PE at the middle school, which is really easy.
Yeah.
Hey, go run a lap.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna play some basketball. Don't kill each other. That's what it boils down to.
Is that rope thing a real thing in your country? Climb the rope?
They have them in the gym.
Do you actually do that at any point?
I never did, but some people do.
Yeah, we never did that. That's not a thing.
But yeah, Pokemon Arceus was my week.
I am 90% sure it's supposed to be Arceus.
People in the way it works is people in the UK will say Arceus. People in North America, or America rather, the United States, typically say Arceus. But either one is fine.
Literally
they use them
every
interchangeably.
root word for the name of the Pokemon is pronounced Arc.
It is supposed to be
Arch.
Arceus. It is supposed to be Arceus because Deus and whatnot. It's the phone that you get, the Arceus phone. It's called the Arc phone, not the Arse phone. But yeah.
Get a lot of butt dials on the Arse phone.
Hold on. Arse is calling me.
So that's your week then. That's all. That's all. Everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I'd like to see Pokemon Legends, Distant Past, and different other things.
Yeah. I have a lot of games on my list of things that I want to play. Yet for some reason, I ended up playing the gas station simulator this week. I don't know why.
Was it fun?
No, it's fine.
Oh.
Yeah. Decent way to relax.
What inspired you to play it? Did someone else play it, or?
I saw that at some point I bought Thief Simulator because achievement hunter played it way back, and it was funny, but it looked like it didn't really actually have anything that great to it. It was more the shenanigans that were going on in the videos inspired me to buy it more than actual gameplay did. So I was like, okay,
That's fair.
I don't really want to play that, but I do like these simulator games a bit. So let's see if there's anything in the same oeuvre that grabs me any better. And I went through a bunch of them, and some are very clearly shit, and some are very clearly okay. And this one seemed to be among the best of them, the most fully realized. And yeah, it pretty much is. It's a pretty solid game. I put about 10-15 hours into it.
Sweet.
There are problems, namely the sand mechanic is terrible. Because there's a whole thing, like, it's a gas station in the middle of a desert. So you have the fuel pumps, you have parking spaces for people to stop and come into the station, buy crisps and soda and booze and shit. And because it's the desert, there are occasionally sandstorms that will just drop piles of sand in the middle of the station. And you have this little loader vehicle that lets you pick up the piles of sand and dump them elsewhere. It is the worst part of the game because it is completely inefficient to do it. There is a way to completely remove the sand and dump it in a location where it just goes away. That is at one point at one corner of the map, and the vehicle travels at approximately half a mile per hour.
That sucks.
It can pick up a tiny amount of one pile of sand a go. It will empty a full tank of petrol, gas, whatever you want to call it, in about 3 trips to that dumping location. So basically the entire thing is completely inefficient to the point you don't want to do it, and the best option is to just dump the piles of sand just slightly out of the way so it's just not in the road of anything. But even that is a pain in the ass that you never actually want to do. Thankfully, the game has a function where you can just straight up turn off certain events. So you can turn off sandstorms, you can turn off... there's a mechanic where you can build a bus station that will occasionally have a bus arrive and about 20 people will show up at once. And they will trash the shit out of your station, but they will come in and buy a shitload of stuff as well. So it's sort of like a rush event kind of thing. And there's this little prick Dennis, who's a little kid that just shows up just to paint graffiti on the walls. And he's the worst. But all of these things you can just turn on and off as you feel like. So if you don't want to deal with sandstorms, you don't have to. You can just turn it off and it just never happens. So it's a bit of a...
I appreciate that.
Yeah, the bits of the game that are just kind of a pain in the arse and you don't want to do them, you can just turn it off. Unfortunate thing is some of them are only a pain in the arse and no one ever actually wants to do them, so they kind of need an overhaul. But they are still supporting it and doing updates and stuff, so hopefully they fix up the balance on certain things to make it a little more fun to play through all of the events rather than just people forcibly shutting some of them off because they're just not worth doing. But yeah, that was a good way to spend like 10-15 hours just relaxing, doing that for a while, listening to other stuff. So Legend of Vox Machina came out on Amazon Prime Video.
Is it good?
Yeah, how is it? I haven't started it yet.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Sweet.
I was baffled to find that David Tennant is in the cast, but apparently he has gone on a bit of an animation voice acting kick for the past 5-6 years or so. Like he was Scrooge McDuck, I believe, when the original passed away. So yeah. Trying to think of ways to describe it, because the animation's gorgeous. I'm going to say that up front. They are treating it as a very adult show. There is a lot of swearing. There is a lot of gore. There is some nudity. I have been told, but I have not checked, that there is a frame of animation where you can see Scanlan's cube.
Yeah, of course there is.
Yeah. Like I say, I haven't checked.
If it had to be shown, I think the fact that it was shown for a single frame is perfect.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Jessica Rabbit thing, where there was like a full-on upskirt, pantyless upskirt in the original cut of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Huh. I did not know that.
That was a thing. I I haven't seen that either, but I'm not exactly going to look that up. There's no need. The show, to be clear, back to talking about the show. It's a little referencey, but not over the top. Like, they don't go out of their way to reference things from the stream, aside from some jokes that usually land pretty well anyway. Like, there is the book Tusk Love in Gilmore's shop, which timeline-wise doesn't make sense, but aside from that, it's just treated as a regular joke as well. So it's like a romance novel that Pike walks past and then she does a double take and just has a quick glance through it, because that's kind of funny, and also happens to be a neat reference for fans of the show. So they're not being deliberate and solely fan servicey about it, I guess is the way to put it. They're working it in as actual content for people that haven't been binging the streams for, God, how long has it been going on? 6 years? Something like that. Plot-wise, they've done some reshuffling by necessity, because there is one character that cannot be part of the show.
Yeah.
Because the person that owns that character and is kind of on the outs with everyone else.
He did this whole thing where he tried to make his own sort of spin-off focus on that character.
Yeah, it didn't really work out, but
No, it's terrible.
I didn't.
Talking about the guy who played the sorcerer.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. To be perfectly clear, I'm not going to really endorse shit talking that guy, because he was going through some shit at the time, some really hardcore shit. So there is obviously a lot of leeway to be given the circumstances, and yeah, that's a whole thing that we don't really get to comment on because it's none of our fucking business. But yeah, so they had to rewrite because he's not part of it. So that's one thing that had to have a major change. They completely cut out the first arc of the streams, which was Craghammer, the Dwarven City. So that whole thing is completely retconned out of the story of this version. And
That's kind of an odd way to do it.
Well, I mean, in terms of broad plot, it didn't actually add that much.
I feel like though it could just be like, oh, that's an adventure we went on in the past or something, rather than just retconning out entirely.
They reference bits of it. Like there is a moment where they're talking about their, I think it was funniest kills or something like that. Like crazy stories, and Keyleth talks about the time that she stepped on a Durgar and pushed him into the lava and just kept whispering, "Go to sleep."
Okay, there we go.
So they do make references to it. It's not like it's completely just gone, but in terms of plot, Craghammer was very much a side story. It introduced all the characters, obviously, but it didn't have anything to do with anything else that happened in the campaign.
It wasn't one of the big things, yeah.
Not really, no.
Yeah. So they've conveniently chopped that bit out. Kima is still a presence. She was the one thing that they kept from that arc. She is now just on the Tal'Dorei Council, which is very different from her actual role in the story, but alright, fair enough. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so they go from the blue dragon encounter, which was, I believe, I don't know how far back it was from when they started the streams, but it was a thing that happened before they started. So it's nice to see that story told in its entirety, even though we've gotten bits and pieces of it from the streams. And then goes directly into the Briarwoods. Which,
Oh wow, that's a jump.
a little bit, but like I say, it in terms of plot relevance, the Blue Dragon was important. Everything else between the Blue Dragon and the Briarwoods kind of not.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not blaming them by any means. They did have to cut out an entire party member in anything valid they did. So like, I get it, but I'm just surprised at the sizable jump.
Tell a lie. There was something that was largely plot relevant that they cut out, and that is the... Was it Vasselheim? The big religious city that they go to for a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was mostly just a shopping thing. Like, did they actually do anything while they were in town? Did they do the Slayer's Take stuff?
The Slayer's Take stuff. They introduced... I can only remember the name of the god and not actually the dude, but Will Friedle's character and Mary Elizabeth McGlynn's character were introduced there. And I literally forgot existed until now, but Will Wheaton's character was the comically inept dwarf because Will Wheaton played him and thus rolled ones every single time.
Yeah!
That was
Favorite.
That was so amazing.
So cursed.
You hear about people that have that kind of luck, and just to see it in real time, holy shit. Oh. Yeah, they cut all that out. In fairness, that probably would have been really inconvenient to do because, again, said the major character in that section's not here. So, fair enough. Like I say, that means Kima is in the plot, and everything's going to revolve around the one city, it seems like, for the most part. And Whitestone, obviously, because Briarwoods.
I imagine it's very different taking something that is, was improvised and making it into a script,
A lot of it is streamlined, I guess. Some bits maybe a little too much. Like, it feels very quick and not really in a great way sometimes. Like,
yeah,
Percy's whole thing is like, I'm going to get vengeance against everyone that betrayed my family. And it will be like, hey, this person betrayed my family. And then he shows up 5 minutes later and the whole fight is against him.
You're taking a 400-hour story and trying to make a TV show.
Yeah. They have to truncate it a lot, but it feels like there is not enough foreshadowing for the plot points that they're addressing. Is what it feels like. And there are bits and pieces that seem like they are a little bit changes for the sake of changes. I'm going to say this not as like a judgment or anything, but there has been some reshuffling of what characters are in the story. Like
character archetype or like racially?
Keeper Yenin was a dude. He is no longer. Yeah, just weird things like that don't seem to have actually got a plot purpose. They just decided to change them. Which, yeah, okay. If you want to do it, you want to do it. I don't actually care enough about these minor characters that you decided to gender or race lift them. I don't care. But it's just a little weird that they decided to do it. That's pretty much it. Really, it's pretty fun. The fight scenes are gorgeous. The voice acting is pretty solid. Occasionally, they stretch a little too far for a reference. That's pretty much it. It's a pretty solid show. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot to like about it.
I think besides Harmon Quest, this is probably the only show someone's made from a D&D campaign. This is the first one that springs to mind, anyway.
Might be, yeah. I haven't heard of Harmon
So I'm
Quest.
sure there's...
Yeah, Slicer talked about it briefly before. It was the animated show.
Yeah, they made a show out of the show Harmon Quest where they did like this weird like 15-minute version of D&D. Like on a game show kind of thing. It's entertaining. It's on Verve, VRV.
Yeah.
If that's still a thing anymore.
It is. I use Verve.
Yeah.
It's good for anime. That's I heard. But I'm sure there's some growing pains of like this hasn't really been done before, so we don't know how to do it perfectly, kind of deal.
Yeah. There is one other thing that changed, and that is this show is based on a D&D campaign. It is not a D&D show. So far as I can tell, they did not even attempt to get the license. So a lot of details have been changed for the sake of not using copyrighted content. Bigby's hand is no longer Bigby's hand. It is Scanlan's hand. It's just a thing Scanlan can do. The various gods that come from both Pathfinder and D&D have now been completely replaced with, as
the different names and titles that they they did something similar when they made the setting book for Taldori, where they changed a bunch of stuff to not get in trouble legally.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, because I think the Raven Queen was a Pathfinder thing. I think.
Yeah, she's some sort of like they changed her to like the Matron of Ravens or something.
Now that's a legally distinct difference.
Yeah, that basically, right?
Well, it is. I mean, ravens and death are kind of in the same ballpark, so it's not really unfair to, the carrion birds. They are very related to death. So having a death god be a figure of import to do with ravens and also a lady, there's a lot of precedent to go with for that.
It's still just the Shinnin plays in my head. Willie Colin saying you're gonna get sued, boy. It's the Shinnin.
The Shinnin, not the Shinin. The Shin.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they've been doing that, and I imagine for any D&D story, like you're gonna have to change some things. Obviously, dragons, easy, right? But specifically with like setting details, because a lot of the original Taldori took elements from, D&D settings that were already established. They had to change that.
Yeah, like
I imagine that the general fantasy monsters, they don't have to change.
Yeah, like owl bears are a thing outside of D&D. It's interesting though in terms of business relationships, because they do have a relationship with WotC, the publishers of D&D. Like obviously because they have a book.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that WotC didn't really want to get involved with this. I feel like they really could have.
I feel like it's a mistake for them to not jump on this, because this could be some really good advertising.
It could be.
I mean, look at how successful D&D Beyond is now that they're an official sponsor of whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I use D&D Beyond, and that was fucking Anyway, my assumption might be that it's not that D&D, rather WotC didn't really want to jump onto it as much as they weren't invited. Maybe. Or maybe it might have been a D&D thing when it was still just a Kickstarter backed thing, but when Amazon got involved, they were like, "Yeah, we'd rather not do a D&D thing." Maybe
It could also just be, Matt Mercer wanting to make it more of his own sort of thing.
might be. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely. That could be the case too.
yeah. It really feels like
isn't that-
more a case of everyone wanting to file the serial numbers off rather than be beholden to WotC for the rest of time.
Yeah.
This is our thing, that sort of mentality.
And it wasn't that why they split from Geek and Sundry? It was like they wanted to just be their own thing.
I have no idea.
I think that was part of it.
Well, at the time, they had completely eclipsed Geek and Sundry, so...
Oh, yeah, no, not even... No ifs or buts about that.
Yeah, like, you look at the view counts of, like, the early episodes of Critical Role compared to everything else Geek and Sundry was, putting out at the time, it's fucking orders of magnitude difference.
Oh, yeah, not even close.
So, yeah, that made sense. It's an interesting thing. I look forward to watching the last 6 episodes when they come out. And I hope it does well enough to get a second season. Amazon don't seem to be pushing it particularly hard. Like, I had to search it out specifically. So, I don't know. Maybe they're expecting it'll just kind of sell itself by the built-in audience, and that'll be fine. I don't know.
They did rely on that. They're not exactly wrong. I mean, I don't know. It's the only reason I haven't seen it is because I hate fucking 12,000 streaming services. I don't want to get another one just for a month to watch a show.
I mean, it's Amazon Prime Video, yes, but it comes with just Prime. So if you have Prime, then that's it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they actually do any specific, like, Amazon Prime Video only. Like, you have to specifically subscribe to the video service. I haven't found any way you have to do that.
They might have tried that at some point, but I don't think
I know
so.
they did do that at some point because I couldn't watch some things back in the day. But nowadays, it's like, no, watch whatever you fucking want, dude. No big deal. You got Prime. You're a Prime. Go for it. Like, I'm watching Supernatural right now. Just go for it.
No, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah, it's still pretty good. It sucks that they stripped out the music from the first season. Had to replace it. But, licensing stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's a shame because there was some...
Not surprised on that one.
There were some really good musical cues in that. Like the episode that introduced the Reapers, and they had Don't Fear the Reaper playing. That was so good. So good.
I guess you could substitute in the music yourself, but it might be a little jarring.
Yeah, a little bit. But they fixed it from season 2 onward, so it's cool.
Yeah. I like that Don't Fear the Reaper.
It's a really good song.
It's a good song. There's something to be said, like, in a tabletop game when you just have a good song and then you manage to get it lined up just perfectly. It's really good.
Okay.
I was just thinking about, like, when I do D&D and I have, like, musical cues.
Yeah.
It's rough when you get it wrong. It's bad.
I use Roll20 for, like, D&D, so sometimes I'll use, like, a Discord bot that plays music to make sure that the music is synced up for everybody at the exact right time so that I can get it.
Oh, that's good.
Perfect. Because, boy, it is rough when you mess up.
I'm not gonna lie, I've just been jamming to Don't Fear the Reaper in my head for the past 30 seconds.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Good job.
Oh god, did I do anything else? Did I? Fuck.
No.
Oh shit. Oh fuck. Okay.
What?
I complained about this on the Discord like last night, but fuck me. I watched the Code Geass. Yes, we're going back to that old joke, that old chestnut from like episode 70 or whatever the fuck. I watched the spin-off interquel, I guess, called Akito the Exiled.
Oh.
For research for a commission that I'm doing.
Was it good? I'm going to assume no.
The animation is beautiful. The soundtrack is
I like that.
wacky but novel. It's very jazz infused, which I was not expecting for a Gundam show. Well, it's not a Gundam show, but it's a Gundam adjacent show. Rollerblade mechs and shit. It's cool. The designs for the nightmare frames that are introduced in it, like the Alexander that has like a standing mode and also like a fucking spider mode. It just drops and skitters across the ground. It's fucking cool. All that stuff is really cool. I like some of the characters. I loathe some of the other characters. Oh boy.
Which ones triggered you the most? I feel like we're talking about like one or two really bad characters here.
Let's go with the softball first. And that is the depiction of the Romani. As Japanese depictions of oft maligned groups go, it's more respectful than most.
Okay.
That's not saying as much now that I remember all of the things that happened. So they are introduced by trying to con people out of money with an insurance fraud style scam.
Classy.
Where someone pushes one of them and they're like, "Oh, the pain, it hurts so much. Oh, I see a bright light." You know, that whole shtick. Yeah, so, you know, the Romani are introduced as con artists, so that's then they find out that the cast at the time don't actually have any money, so it's a wasted effort. Then they basically push the cast into doing a whole shitload of work for them. And then this group consists of 6 old ladies. There are no men whatsoever, which I have to assume is specifically so when they forcibly strip down a teenage girl until she is humiliated, lying on the floor in the fetal position. It's supposed to be played for laughs instead of being horrifying on many levels.
Wow.
Yeah, very convenient that this troop of Romani don't have any men whatsoever. Then they spend the entire time they're on screen groping one of the dudes, but it's okay because he eventually learns to like it.
That's so much work.
Yeah, it's not great. Thankfully, they were only in half an episode and the ending. So that's fine. Out of a 5-episode show that's about an hour long, that's not so bad. It's like, the one bad episode in a 12-episode series kind of, vibe. Then we have the villain of the piece. That is the worst motivated character I have ever seen in quite possibly anything ever. So his name is Shin Hyuga Shang. He came from a rich family. He had a mom and dad. The dad abused the mom. That sucks. That's really bad. That on its own, probably passable motivation for a guy to be a bad guy. It's, a little reductive of, people from abusive families becoming villains, and a little unfair in that sense, but, that would be an understandable motivation, like raging at the world, that kind of thing.
So how do they fuck it up?
So the mom was getting abused, and she took a lover on the side as, an escape from everything else. She got pregnant and had a kid that Shin knew instantly was only his half-brother instead of his full brother. The dad finds out, kills the mom's lover. She begs for death so that, she can be with the man she actually loves instead of the one that, abuses her. And the dad is like, no, you're going to continue to live and be my wife, and I want you to suffer for as long as possible. Shin's reaction to this... Wow, what a fucking whore my mum is. I'm disgusted I came from her womb.
Wow. That's a choice.
I pushed the language a little bit, I'll be honest. He doesn't call her a fucking whore, he calls her a harlot because he's rich. This is his motivation to kill everyone on the planet, by the way. I didn't mention that part yet.
How does that work exactly?
Okay. So, he then, after deciding that he hates everything and wants everything to die because his mum is a whore, to his understanding, he kills his parents, then gets approached by a magical skull that appears out of nowhere, is entirely unexplained, and is basically like, hey, you wanna kill everyone? And Shin's like, yeah, I wanna kill everyone. He's like, cool. I'm gonna give you the power to kill everyone. And that's how he gets a Gias, if you want to call it that. From wacky, inexplicable Gias skull.
Okay.
Wow. I hate it.
I don't know if anyone is familiar listening to this or in the call. The power of Gias was supposed to come from, like, the collective unconscious. The collective will of humanity, past, present, and future.
Yeah.
Of, like, that whole... Where's the wacky skull come from? Like, what the fuck?
Skeletons. Obviously.
By the way, the guy that wants to kill everyone because of hypermisogyny also gets a very sympathetic ending and death.
Great.
Because of course he does. I liked this show fine until like episode 4 out of 5.
At least it's short, so there wasn't much left to hate.
Yeah, they're like an hour each. So So that's. I basically finished watching and I immediately messaged the commissioner and I was like, "Hey, so I watched the thing. I there were parts of it I liked. I like some of the characters that you want me to include in this. I'm probably gonna have Shin shot in the face off screen so I don't have to deal with that shit." He's like, "Yeah, okay, fair enough."
I'm glad they were sympathetic.
Yeah.
Not like, no, he's the main character, obviously. What are you talking about? He's flawless.
Oh boy. I don't even. Look, an almost religious experience of bad writing. I'm not gonna lie. You, you don't get to see a train wreck like that every day.
Was that the you said it was a side story, right?
It's an interquel. It takes place between season 1 and 2 in that story. Lelouch and Suzaku do play a minor role in it.
Same writer?
Different, I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm
Okay.
Wacky Gear Skull tells me it's probably a different writer.
All right, because I was gonna say if that's the same writer,
Yeah, so that was an experience, one that I never ever wish to repeat. But I now am fully armed with knowledge in order to write the story that guy wants me to write. So it's cool. Yeah, that's my week though. Thank God. How you doing, Slicer?
Better than you, obviously. Damn. That sounds terrible.
I mean,
But
I'm pretty sure you said you had surgery this week, so I think you're worse off.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So I did have surgery. So I had the screws taken out of my hip, which is great. I'm really glad that they could come out. I don't know if I mentioned it, but initially I was told they're there forever. So it's a nice change of pace. But
so you are no longer screwed. Good to know.
Yeah, it's true. I even have those screws, so I can screw someone else.
I suppose technically that's true.
So that's cool. I'm thinking about making some kind of, I don't know, art thing in keeping up my glove box, or I mean, on my rearview mirror in my car. Not sure yet, but yeah. So that happened. All better now. Well, I feel better. The holes where the screws used to be needs to fill in, so I'm not like 100%. But I feel so much better already. I didn't realize how limiting my mobility was with those in there until they were out. So that was nice.
Doing a little dancing.
Because I felt... What was that?
Doing a little dancing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
A little hip shake.
You guys don't dance in the shower?
I'd fall over in my shower if I did that. I need to get a bath mat.
Well, that is fair. So, because I feel so much better, I decided to be stupid. And after D&D yesterday, someone brought in stunt sabers, like the actual lightsabers you can fight with. And it turns out LARPing experience trumps anything else anyone has.
Oh, yeah.
So I mopped the floor with everyone else when we fought with them, which was pretty fun. But keep in mind, recovering from surgery. So I got home and found like some blood leaking around the edge of my bandage. I didn't like pull a stitch or anything, but I definitely strained the injury that I should not have done.
Yeah.
So sort of pseudo false alarm. But man, was it fun! It was. I forgot how much I missed fighting.
Yeah.
Even if it was against a bunch of nerds with really weirdly, awkwardly weighted lightsabers.
Yeah, the only way that could have gone bad for you was if someone rocked up who was like a HEMA enthusiast.
Pretty much, yeah. So that was a lot of fun. D&D went great. was less of a game and more of a playtest for a PowerPoint system this guy's trying to develop to make it so one-on-one boss fights are less hilarious. Because throwing a single enemy at an entire party of players is a really good way to have that enemy die really fast.
Like, hey,
yeah,
you get one
typically.
turn. Okay, cool. We get 6.
Yeah.
So
the
there are
PowerPoint system
ways
was...
to do that, but it's very difficult.
Yeah. So the PowerPoint system was basically give them every action they can do costs them this resource that they have a bunch of based on how many players are at the table and what level they are. So, like,
Interesting.
yeah, he can cast 2 9th level spells a turn, but that costs like a fourth of his overall points.
I did some wacko stuff to have a single enemy, whether they be like legendary actions or they have the special multicasting. They can cast 2 spells in a turn, or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But typically, I've always found that having more than just one enemy allows players to have more fun.
Yeah, it feels good to just murder things as opposed to wailing on a damage sponge, basically.
Yeah,
It's
there's
easier
too
to
many
tell.
players.
It's easier to tell there's progress being made if they can actually drop the number of enemies rather than just wailing on one big dude who, if the DM is feeling generous, will say, yeah, he's taking some damage. Yeah.
Generally, because it is a multiplayer game, a cooperative game, everybody wants their time to shine. But if you're like, well, I don't want this fight too easy, so I'm going to make it immune to the stun condition so the monk can't do their thing, or something like that,
Yeah.
right? And you're just trying to make it work and like make this monster of a single boss. But what you end up happening is a lot of the players just feel like they're useless and they're not doing much.
Yeah, there was a bit of a fine-tuning problem in that his legendary resistance only cost 1 power point. He got 17 power points per player. So when it was my turn and my high-level warlock,
everything,
yeah, he would just auto-succeed on everything, and it would cost him almost nothing.
That's stupid.
So there's one of my 4 spell slots gone for 1 point. So that the cost of that definitely needed to go up. I think we eventually settled on like the number of points correlated to the number of spell levels of what I was using. So like a 5th level banishment or something, and he auto succeeded to stay in place, it would cost him 5 points. Or something like that.
Yeah.
So either way, it was a lot of fun. It was a nice change of pace to try something different. And
I feel like one boss is really hard, but 2 bosses is much easier.
Yeah, it definitely can be like that. Yeah, but it was nice that the DM was genuinely appreciative of us helping refine the system. Both because the people at that table were some of the most competent players in the shop, so we knew what we were doing. And we were the people on the Discord of the shop itself who were the most like, no, I don't think this idea is going to work. So it was illuminating for everyone involved to actually play it and see how it handled in real life. Let's see. I ran to the store and grabbed some games in prep for being down and out for a little while. I assumed my recovery time would be much worse than, hey, kind of take it easy for a month. But I grabbed Dark Alliance, which is a D&D game. Kind of a Muso-esque thing, except it plays like ass. So it's really slow. Your character doesn't turn very fast, which you're surrounded all the time because it's a Muso game. It's maybe it gets better when you actually like level up your character and unlock more abilities and stuff, but like it feels bad. It just doesn't feel good to play. So I don't think that game is ever going to come out of its box again. On Wednesday, I also discovered that Dying Light 2 came out on Friday.
Yeah, that's a thing.
So the downside of not following like game trailers and keeping myself completely blind to things is that sometimes things will just surprise you like that. It's like, oh, I wanted to play that game. It comes out in 2 days. I guess I'll just get it.
Yeah, apparently it pre-day one was very glitchy. I don't know whether they dropped a day one patch to fix it.
If they have, it was worked into the sale for me, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
Since I had plans on Friday, that was the day of my surgery. I couldn't actually play it till Saturday, so it might have downloaded and installed a patch because I just left my PS4 on while I was gone.
Yeah.
But I'm playing it on PS4, and it's a PS4 PS5 hybrid game, so it can be on both. I think since I bought it digitally, I own it on both. I'm not sure, but get it on 5 if you can, because it plays like fucking ass on PS4. It's bad. I'll walk into a building and there's 8 zombies T-posing and they have no texture for several long seconds.
Yeah, sounds like they didn't do a day one patch and they're still working on it.
Yeah. Half the time NPCs will have gray skin because their skin color has not loaded in yet. Let's see. Subtitles will disappear after a split second, so you can't read them. So if you're playing with the game on low volume or muted, you cannot follow anything that's happening. Let's see. There's a bunch of other little inconvenience things, like enemies just don't load in at first, and then they all load in on top of you. So that's not great to suddenly just go from completely fine to an empty playground to 12 zombies on top of you, half dead already. Yeah. They added a stamina system to climbing, which means it's just an annoying gatekeeping mechanic to keep you from climbing everything you want to. Because, like, you just can't climb up some buildings. There's too much climbing involved. Your stamina drains before you can. Yeah. But it is, in its own way, in its own limited way, it is a fun game. I am enjoying it, actually. And, I think... Oh, right. I forgot to mention this. We're back to D&D for just a second. The failure of a PowerPoint system was where... Did I mention to you guys that I fought Boba Fett in a campaign once?
No.
Don't think so.
So it was a Star Wars game. We were hired by some hut to go kill a bunch of people, like one after the other. It was pretty much straight combat with some mild RP in the middle, which is fine. The DM was pretty upfront about the fact that he didn't really have a lot of free time that week, and so he didn't really plan a lot out, which is fine. The people at the table play vibrant enough characters. We could just RP for like 3 hours. I mean, it was fun. But
to be honest with you,
the
some
DM...
hut sounds like a really good name for a hut.
It's true. It does. It is. So the first guy we killed him in such a way that we actually like sold his ship, and we got a bunch of money for it. So for the rest of the session, we essentially had infinite money. One of our players decided he really liked the scroll meteor, so he was going to buy 50 of them. And I'm not sure what the DM was thinking, or if he just didn't care, but he let the player tape all of those items together to activate all at once. So we had a scroll, or this grenade thing, of 50 times meteor. We got into a yeah. So we got into a scuffle. I can't hear what you're saying, by the way.
Who?
So anyway, we got into a scuffle with some, I think it was like a drug deal gone bad or something like that. And so the player activated the beacon that summoned 50 meteors from the sky. And then Boba Fett teleported in while the casting was still happening. We couldn't stop it, and so we just teleported away. Or rather, we teleported to a nearby mountain and watched everything explode. And Boba Fett just stepped out of this 300... It was like 1,600 damage. He just walked out of it. No scratches. So that's what it feels like to have a bad PowerPoint system. Of like, nothing we do can kill this person. I think we eventually came back and destroyed the planet that he was on, and we didn't even really assume he was dead at that point either. I don't know. It's just a bad DM at that point, honestly. The session was fun because of the characters, not because of the anything the DM was doing.
Oh. You know, when you don't have a lot of time to prep, which I've been in that situation before, typically that can lead to some very fun improvisation. You know?
Oh, it absolutely can. Yeah. A couple of our regular DMs are actually very good at that. They'll come with just a rough idea of what they want to have a session be, and they'll just bullshit all of it. It's very impressive.
That's kind of what I do. I started one session. By the end of it, I had an entire crafting system for alchemy.
Hmm.
You know? But like, sometimes it don't go like that.
Yeah, sometimes it's really rough. So that was a thing that happened a while back. I also have finally beat Disgaea 5, and it's not because it's difficult. It's actually really, really easy. Like, I don't know if either of you have played a Disgaea game ever,
I played
but
one a bit.
they added a bunch of... What was that?
I said I played one a bit.
Ah, gotcha. So they added a bunch of quality of life improvements, like the ability to just change the enemy difficulty on the fly. You just go to what's called the cheat shop NPC, and you crank their level strength from anywhere from 1 star to 20 stars, and so you can farm your way up to several thousand levels pretty quickly too. So you can also crank the output of things. So like, if you drop the percentage of weapon mastery, defense mastery, SP gain, or mana gain, and money gain, you can crank your XP up to like 800%, meaning you get even more experience. So my only limiting factor in beating Disgaea 5 was the fact that it's boring and predictable and just terrible. The story is so bad. The main character has a dark side he talks through the entire game. The dark side just comes out and it's like, hey, unleash me. I'll kill the villain. I'll do it. The main character says, no, I'm a good person now. And that's 80% of the story. Yeah.
Mm.
It's the best mechanical Disgaea game there is so far that I've played. But, oh god, the story is so bad. I've heard that 6 gets really wacky, so I'm kind of interested in playing 6. But I haven't looked up where to play it yet. I assume
I've always watched Disgaea from a distance and be like, I like your character design and your art and everything. I have no idea what's going on over there.
That's probably for the best, yeah. Almost every story is about demons discovering that, oh, just because I'm evil doesn't mean I can't have a heart. Like, just because I'm a demon doesn't mean I can't be sad when sad things happen.
I mean, broadly, yes. It's a little bit like if Konosuba was about devils. Demons, whatever.
Oh god, that's so accurate. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I beat Disgaea 5. The ending was super abrupt. Just, you win. It's over now. Have fun. Bye. Go farm some more levels for nothing. Yeah. So that's my week, I believe. I can't think of anything else I've done.
Did they ever release that Prinny game on anything other than, I think, the PSP?
I don't know. Oh, that was the other. That was so in every Disgaea game, I make an overpowered Prinny because I just want to. Blast damage is a thing in Disgaea 5, and it automatically one-shots Prinnies.
Oh, they brought
It doesn't matter what level they are.
Oh.
What was that?
They brought Prinny to the Switch.
Oh, okay.
I have another game on my list.
But yeah. Yeah, because of the blast damage, you can't just solo play a Prinny, unfortunately.
They brought it in October of 2020.
That was very much a quiet release, I guess. But all right.
It was
that was 4 months ago.
Exploded and Reloaded.
Prinny 1 and 2, did you say?
Yeah.
I thought there was only the one.
Well, you have a whole new game to play then. So I think that's it. I believe so.
All right. We had a full cast. Long episode. Pokemon. Bad Code Geass spinoff.
Hey, Zero.
Interquill. Yeah?
What time of the month is it? My dude.
Oh, gosh. I was so busy teaching a class all week I forgot. I apologize.
Not done yet, motherfucker.
Alright, hold on. Alright, so thank you to our patrons. You are awesome. Big ups, as they say, to Ryu for that. I think total it's 1420. Thank you to Sailor of House Thunderbird for your $5 donation. Thank you to Vale for your $10 donation. Thank you to Boy Bye Fresh for your $20 donation. Thank you to Greek Guy for your $1 donation. Thank you to Ethan F for your $10 donation. Thank you to Barn BCM for your $1 donation. Thank you to the Cross Brain for your $10 donation. And thank you to Troper, Tempest Troper 37 for your $10 donation. You all are awesome.
Thanks, guys.
I need to pay my friends real quick.
You know what else sucks about Akuto the Exile?
What?
What's that?
You remember how I said that the Lucian and Suzaku are bit players?
Yeah.
You want to know why that is?
Why?
They make this
Why's
big
that?
deal about how they're going into, like, the whole thing is a conflict between Euro-Britannia, which is basically Britannia, Russia kind of thing, tributary state, and Europea, because Japan don't know how European Union works. And basically, Lelouch is on his way to completely take over the war effort against Europe, basically. And he does. And he's in charge for about 30 minutes. Manages to completely destabilize the entirety of Europe with literally a bunch of bullshit. Riots across the entire continent. And then 5 minutes later, they realize, hey, that plan was kind of similar to something that the terrorist Zero would do. Arrest him. And they do, and he spends the rest of the show in prison. He is an active participant in the show for about 5 minutes.
That's terrible. Sequels and offshoots should not shit on the original. That's directly in the mouth of the previous. Wow.
Hold on. It was Akita the Exiled.
Yeah.
I need to know. I need to know who wrote this. This is important. This is important for my sanity.
This is important to you. Do you know who the original writer was? Is that why it's bothering you? The writer of Code Geass, the original?
Okay. It was written by somebody else.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
The original writer was Ichiro Okuchi, who wrote the, I believe, yeah. And the writer for the spin-off was Hiroshi Onogi, who did a lot of mecha stuff as like a script screenwriter thing.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. I'm looking at the original writer's credits, and there's some interesting stuff on it. Not a lot that's massively huge. Devilman Crybaby is on there.
Yeah.
I remember that one. The Code Geass films,
Worked
naturally.
on the Code Geass films, just not that one.
Yeah, so
It did the Berserk the Golden Age arc movies, you know.
yeah. I don't know whether
So-
those are the bad stuff. I know there
No,
was the revival.
that's the good stuff.
Okay, cool.
That's the Golden Age movies are good.
Okay. I mean, he didn't write them, but he did adapt them. So
He adapted them. So yeah.
Again, the freaking designs and stuff were really cool. Like, there is a nightmare that is literally just a mechanical horse and rider. They really took the whole nightmare thing a little too far, to be honest, but it's still cool.
Honestly, though, non-human mechs are really efficient in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Like,
Taking
they
like
make a
animal
point of that.
adaptations and
I mean, in fairness,
working them in.
the nightmares are all rollerblade mechs, so that makes them better by default, because that just wins by coolness factor. Let's be honest. They're rollerblade mechs with grapple lines. They can fucking climb anything.
Good mobility.
Yeah, that's cool. Anyway, so that's a podcast. I felt like I wanted to stretch it out for another 10 minutes. I don't know why. I just did. So now it's 2 hours and 10 minutes instead of 2 hours. Yeah, so that's a podcast. We talked about Pokemon a lot. And Casey bitched like he always fucking does, because he's Casey. And he sucks. Asshole.
I think you have valid reason for complaining. Like, that's a bad series.
I really wanted to like it. Oh well.
When a Pokemon is aggroed and you throw a Pokeball at them, it just bonks off their head, and then they just get pissed.
It's pretty.
Wouldn't
great.
you?
You're just like, get the ball.
I mean, yeah.
And then you just like,
If someone threw a rock at my face, I'd be pretty pissed about it too.
You can throw balls of mud and snowballs and spoiled apricorns at Pokemon. You're gonna use Hyper Beam? Take this, ball of mud.
So I am starving. I'm gonna go grab some food.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
Okay.
Later.
Bye. Bye. We haven't done the outro yet, but alright, it's cool. No mind. This podcast is
He's
cool.
already
We
gone.
appreciate it. Everybody, Patreon is the link in the description. We do shout outs and there's some other stuff on there, but no one ever takes us up on it. Discord link in the description. See Casey bitching about the things he watches firsthand when he first bitches about them. Because he's a bitch that bitches about things. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're not. It's fine. Have a better self-image. It's okay to complain sometimes.
It's. For entertainment value, yes, but if you're just venting because you think something's shit, then it's not really healthy. But, it is what it is. Sometimes you gotta.
Go play Pokemon. Throw a
I'd have to
Pokeball.
I have a commission chapter to do. I have a Patreon chapter to do. I have things to do.
All right, whenever you have free time, play Pokemon.
Bye, everybody.
Later, y'all.